This is CBS2 News This Morning.
Lost one of our sons today, and it is extremely painful.
Right now, two major breaking stories. An officer killed in the line of duty this morning. Details on how a routine traffic stop became a fatal shootout.
But first, a horrifying scene unfolding in Baltimore. A highway bridge collapses into the water after a cargo ship appeared to collide with it. Several cars plunging into the water. Thank you so much for joining us today on this Tuesday, March 26th. I'm Chris Raggi.
And I'm Mary Calvi. Welcome to CBS2 News This Morning. And let's start with that disaster unfolding in Baltimore as we look at live pictures of the situation right now. That
bridge collapse captured on video. Crews are now desperately searching for survivors in this area. CBS2's Christina Fan joins us live from the newsroom with the very latest this morning. Christina?
Chris and Mary, good morning. That container ship involved is registered to Singapore and was sailing from Baltimore to Sri Lanka at the time of the crash. Shocking video shows the vessel appearing to hit a pillar of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The contact nearly immediately causes the bridge to collapse piece by piece into the Patapsco River. The Baltimore City Fire Department says the crash happened around 1:30 this morning. It is unclear how many vehicles were on the bridge, but there was at least one large tractor trailer and at least 7 people reported to have fallen into the river. Dive and rescue teams have arrived to try and locate victims. The Key Bridge was built in the late 1970s and was a major link in the interstate highway system, carrying 11.5 million vehicles annually. Again, rescue efforts currently underway after a part of the bridge collapsed into the river this morning. This is a developing story. We'll keep you updated as the morning progresses. From the newsroom, Christina Fan, CBS2 News.
Christina, thank you. And as we take another live look at the scene right now, we will check back in at the top of the hour with Christina Fan for an update on the situation. We'll have continuing coverage of the developing situation all morning long right here on CBS2. A massive bridge collapse in Baltimore this morning.
Just shocking.
Incredible. Just incredible to see.
We'll continue to follow it for you throughout the morning. 4:32 right now. Let's turn things over to John Elliott and a first alert forecast. That's chilly out there, John.
And you can see, though, from the live pictures and the video that weather was not an issue. This was obviously an impact, and weather is not going to impact the rescue efforts. In our area, we've got clouds, and that's pretty much playing out in Baltimore, Philly, and D.C. 39 degrees, wind out of the north at 10, so numbers between 30 and 39. I want to show you what's interesting is numbers are actually up quite a bit from yesterday, but that's because the clouds are insulating. There's still enough of a breeze, and you still have to layer up. It's still cool out the door. We have wind chills as low as 29 in the area, but we are going to see a relatively quiet day. Some more clouds, maybe some drizzle later today. That's about it. Our shower chances are actually going to go up Wednesday and Thursday. Very active winter and severe weather for parts of the lakes down into the Gulf. In our area, a cooler day with more clouds, right around 50 for a high. We'll talk more about that and have the rest of your 7 day in a bit. Right now, though, right back to Mary and Chris.
John, thank you. 4:33, more breaking news right now as the NYPD mourns the loss of one of its own. 31-year-old Jonathan Diller was a father, a husband, and a police officer who gave his life protecting the city.
What started as a routine traffic stop in Queens turned into a gunfight. 2 suspects are now in custody, one of them shot by Diller's partner. Let's go live now to Natalie Dudridge in Far Rockaway with the latest on this. Natalie.
Chris and Mary, just a devastating loss for the NYPD, for the city, and most of all for this officer's family. Police say he was simply trying to keep this city safe. He was conducting a traffic stop in a bus stop here when he was senselessly killed. A somber procession for 31-year-old officer Jonathan Diller.
We lost one of our sons today, and it is extremely painful. It's extremely painful.
Hundreds of members of the NYPD stood in salute for his dignified transfer, thinking about how his family, wife, and young child will go on.
This family upstairs, young wife, who's devastated. These police officers who packed the halls just lost a brother.
Just before 6 p.m. Monday, police say he and another officer assigned to the NYPD's critical response team approached a car on Mott Avenue near Beach 20th Street. A driver and passenger were in the car.
He was given a lawful order numerous times to step out of the car. He refused. And when the officer took him out of the car, instead of stepping out of the car, he shot our officer.
Police believe Diller was shot in the torso below his bullet-resistant vest. The NYPD says this is a picture of the suspect's gun, which was recovered at the scene. Police say the officer's partner also fired, striking the suspect.
I heard pop, then I heard it again. I knew it was gunshots, and came outside, I saw two guys on the floor.
Both suspects are in police custody. The one who was shot is in the hospital. Investigators say the driver of the car has 14 prior arrests and the shooter has 4 priors.
This is what you call not a crime problem, a recidivist problem. Same bad people doing bad things to good people. Less than a year, he's back on the streets with another gun.
And police say Diller was only on the job 3 years, but made an incredible impact, making 70 arrests. And now somehow the NYPD and his family have to find the strength to say goodbye. In Far Rockaway, Queens, Natalie Duddridge, CBS 2 News.
Natalie, thank you. And stay with CBS 2 News. We'll bring you every update on this shooting investigation and tributes to Officer Diller, both on air and online at cbsnewyork.com. Now to Harlem, where police have charged a man with murder after a deadly subway push. They've identified him as 24-year-old Carlton McPherson. They say it happened around 7 last night at the Lexington Avenue station, 125th Street. Police tell us the victim was shoved into the path of a northbound 4 train. Investigators believe the push was unprovoked.
Well, this comes as the NYPD is cracking down on subway fare evasion. At the 125th Street and Lex Avenue station, the NYPD chiefs announced Operation Fair Play started yesterday. The department sending 800-plus officers into the transit system to stop people who try to skip the fare. Riders have mixed feelings about the week-long safety plan.
Yes, it will make me feel safer. I know that because I've been tackled.
See, that's crazy because right now I can't pay my fare because this machine right here does not take any cash.
800 cops being surged into this system.
You get to see a uniform presence doing this, and also a plainclothes component also.
The chief of transit says 97% of people stopped are issued a civil summons, which comes with a fine, but repeat offenders can be arrested.
437 new questions this morning about why federal authorities raided 2 homes owned by entertainment mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
Armed authorities were seen at his estates outside Los Angeles and Miami. It comes after months of multiple sexual misconduct allegations against Combs. CBS 2's Carter Evans now with the latest.
Heavily armed federal agents raided hip-hop mogul Sean Combs' homes in Miami and Beverly Hills today. Agents could be seen pulling people from the homes and questioning them in handcuffs. It was unclear if Combs was there.
Federal agents would execute search warrants simultaneously to make sure that they don't want anybody in Los Angeles calling people in Miami and vice versa to say the feds are here.
Law enforcement sources tell CBS News that the raid by the Department of Homeland Security is part of a possible sex trafficking investigation.
What we see here in the Department of Homeland Security leading a raid is that there may be some allegations that they're looking into of sex trafficking.
Last November, the 3-time Grammy winner was sued by his former girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, who gave graphic details in her civil suit against Combs, claiming he subjected her to violence and sexual abuse during her over decade-long relationship with him. Ventura reached a settlement with Combs, and he is denied wrongdoing. In recent months, Combs has been accused of sexual abuse in at least 4 other cases, including a lawsuit by his former music producer, Rodney Jones, who's worked with Combs on his latest The Love album. Jones claims that for more than a year, Combs sexually harassed, drugged, and threatened him while working on the project. Combs' attorney called the lawsuit pure fiction and Jones a liar. The Department of Homeland Security released a statement confirming the raids in both cities, but they did not explain the reason behind the law enforcement action and said they would provide more information when it becomes available. Diddy has denied any wrongdoing. Carter Evans, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Well, an update now on a former volleyball coach accused of raping a student on Long Island. Police say the 22-year-old coach died by suicide after stepping in front of a Long Island Railroad train in Syosset on Friday night. Jason Mazur was a coach at Sacred Heart Academy and an all-girls Catholic college prep high school in Hempstead. He was accused of raping a 15-year-old player while working part-time as her coach. Detectives say Mazur also worked for a B&B volleyball club where the victim also played.
4:40 right now, big developments into former President Trump's court cases. First, a New York appeals court gave him 10 more days to post bond in his civil fraud judgment, and the amount was reduced from $450 million to $175 million. Trump, his adult sons, and company were fined for inflating the value of assets. The ruling prevents New York's Attorney General from seizing Trump's property to cover the judgment.
And in Trump's hush money case, that trial has now a date set. Jury selection will begin in Manhattan on April 15th. The judge rejected Trump's attorney's motion to further delay this trial.
Now to the latest on the Israel-Hamas war. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu abruptly sending his closest aides to Washington to discuss Israel's planned invasion of Rafah. The decision was made after the U.S. allowed a ceasefire resolution to pass at the United Nations. He called for an end to the fighting without guaranteeing the release of hostages held by Hamas. But U.S. officials insist there isn't no shift in policy.
Very clear. We've been very consistent in our support for a ceasefire as part of a hostage deal. That's how the hostage deal is structured, and the resolution acknowledges the ongoing talks.
Separate meetings between administration officials and the Israeli defense minister, a political rival of Netanyahu, went forward as scheduled.
It is 4:41. Coming up, raising awareness about epilepsy. We're going to hear from one woman living with the condition that oftentimes goes undiagnosed.
Plus, you might have some unclaimed money from the IRS floating around and you're running out of time to claim it. What you need to do in order to get those funds into your pocket.
And we'll get you a full check on your first alert weather forecast with John Elliott. You're watching CBS 2 News this morning. Welcome back to CBS 2 News this morning. Live pictures right now from Baltimore, right side of your screen. The scene unfolding about 3 hours ago. The Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsing just outside of Baltimore here about 1:30 this morning. It's unclear how many vehicles were on the bridge, but there was at least one large tractor trailer reportedly on that span, and at least 7 people reported to have fallen into the river. Dive and rescue teams have arrived. They are trying to locate victims as we speak. This is a breaking news situation we will be following for you all morning here on CBS2. We're going to switch gears for one quick moment, talk a little weather. Bring in John Elliott right now for your first alert forecast on this Tuesday morning. John?
Yeah, weather not a factor at all there. We are going to see some changes weather-wise over the next few days here. 39 degrees right now. Clouds definitely take over today. Umbrella Wednesday, Thursday, and then obviously that brings in the Mets home opener. That is going to be a close call. What's interesting is you look at the chance of rain. It's relatively low. Numbers are going to be lower. That means 30s out the door, 40s for the most part for a good part of the day. Chance of a shower, maybe a little drizzle today. Yesterday wasn't bad. Hope you enjoyed it. I mean, we had 54 in Poughkeepsie. Interesting, 48 in Belmar. The reason why was that northeast wind, and that northeast wind also continuing to bring in the risk of a minor coastal flooding. Yesterday hit 53 in the city, but when you factor in the high and the low, it was another blue box for the big board and will definitely be below normal again today after such a warm start to the month. 53 is the normal. We're going to go for 50. 82 and 20-year records. Sun's up 6:48. Won't be as bright of a day. Sun sets at 7:15. Again, coastal flood alerts continue through tonight, morning high tide cycle, and afternoon and evening too. And they've kind of changed some of the colors. It's an advisory or just a coastal flood statement, not the warning. But again, still some inundation possible, the moon and that northeast flow. You can see it's quiet. We'll see more clouds today. The big story, big storms possible for parts of the Ohio Valley. Flip side of that, it's another blizzard setup. I know. I mean, they are really getting slammed. Parts of Minnesota and clearing the Dakotas, but down into parts of Iowa. Let's talk about your backyard. And you can see clouds. Whoa, big time. Clouds are going to take over. And then by tomorrow morning, maybe a stray shower. Wednesday gets busier in the afternoon, so if that's a key travel time or appointment time, remember, going to need the rain gear. Thursday, Thursday, Thursday. Watch what happens Wednesday night into Thursday. See, there's heavy rain, but the models are trying to push this farther to the east. Could be good news for the Mets, but it wouldn't take too much of a wobble to bring that rain back in. Overall, Thursday is still the busiest weather day of the week. We dry out Friday, and it looks better for the holiday weekend. Numbers are going to be nicer as well. Today is Science Appreciation Day for a very interesting reason. We're going to talk about that and also just check in on the eclipse just for fun.
That's right. It's coming up soon. Yeah, but at least the temperatures feel a little bit better later on in the week.
Springtime. Yeah, it's going to feel nice for Easter.
All right. Thanks so much, John. Let's get you to First Alert traffic right now. Guy Stanier has the very latest for us at 4:48.
Good morning, Mary. Starting in Queens, the regular construction is 2 lanes closed in both directions on the Van Wyck. This is right between Hillside and Atlantic Avenues. Also on this map in Brooklyn, roadwork has at least 1 lane closed on the northbound BQE approaching Cadman Plaza. In New Jersey, construction has the southbound truck lanes closed on the Turnpike. Also, the northbound car lanes are closed. This is between exits 8 and 14. No delays through the area. Taking a live look outside at the Cross Bronx at the Alexander Hamilton Bridge, moving well in both directions at 448. No delays eastbound to the Bruckner Interchange or westbound to the George Washington Bridge. Alternate side parking is in effect today citywide. Chris and Mary, back to you.
Guy, thank you. The IRS is giving taxpayers a heads up about more than $1 billion in unclaimed refunds that date back to 2020. The agency says about 940,000 people in the U.S. have until May 17th to submit returns in order to receive their refunds for the 2020 tax year. The average median refund for that year adds up to about $932.
4:49 right now. Today is Purple Day, a global effort to raise awareness about epilepsy. About 50 million people around the world suffer from the condition, but it can often go undiagnosed. One woman lived with symptoms for years until she finally got the right diagnosis at Mount Sinai. It turns out Ivy Hogan has a type of epilepsy that is triggered by hormones.
It would just hit. It would kind of creep in from the side.
The vast majority of seizures are not the classic, what you see on TV, sometimes called grand mal or tonic-clonic convulsions. It's often what brings people to medical attention, but is not typically how people present with seizures.
Hogan has been seizure-free for nearly a year and is now studying to become a neurology nurse.
Well, there appears to be a new use for a widely used drug. Researchers at the University of South Carolina have discovered that statins, normally used to lower cholesterol, can also be used to improve gum health. They found statins can lower inflammation from periodontal disease. Scientists say the drug treatments may one day replace invasive procedures like surgery to treat gum disease.
Time now is 4:50. Up next, after turbulent times for Boeing, the CEO says he is stepping down. What we know this morning.
And an after-school program in Queens is helping kids express themselves. That's coming up right after this.
On your Money Watch, futures are trending higher this morning as investors await reports on durable goods and consumer confidence. Stocks drifted lower yesterday, kicking off a shortened trading week. The Dow fell 162, S&P dropped nearly 16, the Nasdaq lost 44. 4:53 right now as we take another look at those pictures on the right of that bridge collapse in Baltimore. We're seeing live pictures on the left side of your screen. Officials say the crash happened around 1:30 this morning. That video showing the vessel appearing to hit a pillar of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The contact nearly immediately caused that bridge to collapse piece by piece into the Patapsco River. Dive and rescue teams are on the scene attempting to find anyone who fell into the water. This is a breaking news story, and we will continue to follow it throughout the morning for you. Right now at 4:54, let's get you check on First Alert weather, and here's John Elliott with details for us. John.
Cloudy and cooler today, Mary. 39 right now. Bit of a breeze, so you have to factor in the wind chill. Next few days, today relatively quiet. Tomorrow, definitely plan on passing showers. Thursday, a steadier rain. Best candidates to see more significant rain will be to the east. Today, by the way, is Science Appreciation Day because it's Live Long and Prosper Day in honor of Leonard Nimoy, who was born on this day in 1931. Ditor he smusa, by the way, is Vulcan for Live Long and Prosper Day. So let's have some fun with science. Of course, we're talking about the eclipse coming up when the moon shrouds the sun. So this is the path. And again, to give you a sense of this, In our area, right here, we're still at 80%. We're going to see 80% of it. But you don't have to go that far to see totality. The question is going to be, though, what about the weather? Too early to say now. You don't want the clouds to ruin your view of the eclipse. Obviously, we'll be watching that story very closely as we celebrate science today. Mary?
John, thank you. 4:55 right now. Major shakeup at Boeing and the company's ongoing troubles. Several top officials, including the CEO, are stepping down. Dave Calhoun was brought on in 2020 to right the company after two 737 MAX jets crashed, killing 346 people. Now he says he'll leave by the end of the year after January's 737 door panel blowout during an Alaska Airlines flight. Calhoun told CNBC he's not leaving right away because he wants to see Boeing through the latest turbulence.
Let's not avoid what happened with Alaska Air. Let's not avoid the call for action. Let's not avoid the changes that we have to make in our factory. Let's not avoid the need to slow down a bit and let the supply chain catch up.
Calhoun is one of three top executives departing the company. Boeing's board chair and the head of commercial airplanes are also leaving.
After an after-school program in Queens, young people are embracing self-expression through dance. The Hank Astoria Cornerstone program welcomes students who are living in Astoria public housing. The young dancers learn hip-hop and majorette styles. They're busy practicing their choreography for upcoming spring performances.
Clap, clap, snap, arm, touch. Pull it up.
I get to show up my uniqueness of dance and my personality.
What I love is that we have to work together. It just makes me free to move. Like, it makes me feel happy in myself.
I love that we do that for them and give them that outlet to be themselves and just create.
In addition to dance, the program offers mentorship, homework help, even hydroponics, growing plants in a greenhouse classroom.
Time now is 4:57. Ahead at 5. More on that breaking news. Shocking video of a highway bridge collapse in Baltimore after it was apparently hit by a cargo ship.
Rescue operations are underway. We'll have the very latest developments coming up in just a few moments.